Once you've seen how the last movie showed the building of fonts and letters, 26 letters, in this case all capital, so we weren't worried about lowercase. And we didn't worry about numbers or punctuation. We just made 26 letters. Now, of course, you saw too that the 26 letters, there might be two or three different A's and two or three different R's. You can have some variety that you want to build into them. And let me review then. Here is that page that has all of the information on it that is the squared, and when you add the background color if you want to see the template, maybe you do, maybe you don't. There's the horizontal lines that form the E's and the F's and the L's and the T's, that group. Uh, then there is the verticals that help form those same things along with other characters. Remember, there was the E group, there was the O group, there was the A group, and there was the S group. So once you get to the E group, you're forming these letters, and we reviewed that. I'm just showing you here's the building pages that help to put together these characters. Let's see, I guess I should take some of them out so you can see not all of them all at once. But you would work on a layer, work on a layer, work on a layer. So that's the type templates and layout that you can see. And now I'm not asking you to build them, I'm going to ask you to use them, but this would how you would build them if you were there. And the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to end up with this square end type. From the fonts and from the template I made, here is alphabets. Now, like I say, there's four A's, so you have a choice. There's three C's, there's three G's. You could make maybe a stretched A or not, and you can fiddle with this, but just keep it simple. There's two S's, a sort of a squared off S and a round S. So these are fonts, the result of the font where there's a square end. And then remember, I made the round end where I took this circle and put on the end of each of these fonts, and you have a round end line there. And the variety and the use of these things are what I want you to deal with. Now, if I was going to make a word, like I've got a word out here, end, let's make another word, lead, and I would select the L and make a copy, the Option key, and pull the L out. And then I would pick the E I wanted. Let's say I want this rounded E. I select it, pull it out, and put it in place. And the A, now remember the next one is D, so I'm going to pull this flat A here, copy it. Don't take it away, because then you're ruining your set. Make sure you're using the Option key, pulling that away. D, Option key, make a copy and pull it down here and say, okay, how does that look? Maybe not so good with that A. Let's see what the straight up A looks like. I'm going to take this A out and move the D over a little bit, put the A in here, tuck it in close to the E, and pull the D back. Okay, and that A I don't need so much. So there's my word. Now I'm not going to build it on this type page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and copy it, Command C, and then I'll go to a new page and paste it, Command V as in Victor, and any other words that I'm dealing with, and it'll come across that way. So that that would be the way I'm pulling them off of here, organizing them. I still have to get them level, make sure everything's all right. Now the next phase would be, here is a page showing the word Dangerfield with some manipulation of the font. Like I pulled the edge of the A out, and I've taken this bar and stretched it across to the N, and I've made a lowercase I with a dot on it just for decorative purposes, as well as putting the dot in the middle of the D. It doesn't have to be there, it's just a design element. So from that, I then made the outline, and we've talked about outlines before, where you take the original, and I'm making a copy, Option key, and pulling that out, giving it a stroke now that is also black. And in my stroke bars, let's see, I'm right here, let's pull that out so I can see my strokes. And I'm going to give it 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I'm watching it get thick enough to be a background, and rounded caps and rounded joins so they don't have any sharp edges. And there I've got it set up for the idea of object, path, outline, stroke, and it melts all of this together into one geometry. And then in Pathfinder, with the command key down, I melt them all together. And at that point, then I'm going to say I want this to be a black, and the stroke is nothing. And I'm going to turn it to a gray. And my colors, and well, I'm saying color here, and it's bring it forward so it's the black working, and make it a light gray. And then that is going to go behind, Command Shift left bracket, so it's behind, and it's coming in here behind this original. Let's see, I didn't get all the parts there. Let's see, back up here, get everything. Command Shift left bracket, and then it parks in behind the original, and you get the outline. So I've got that there already here with the outline. The same thing with any other name. In this case, I stretched the L and moved some things around and put some use, some manipulation and some use to this, so that I'm getting making use of my letters to create interesting words. Here's 2 other uses of this font where I'm using the letters straight off the rounded font. I've tilted the E a little bit here. I've run it into the R and the R into the I. I've stretched the leg of this by getting the 3 anchor points on the back side here with the white arrow and stretched it out. I've run the E inside and outside of each, the S's, 2 S's together. Then I took all the black and made an outline and put it behind it. And these dots that were black, I've made them red by selecting them with the white arrow with a plus and changed their color. And so Jericho Crossing now has a little bit more excitement to it with a longer R and a bigger S in that case. And then I made another outline where I switched it back to stroke, and it gave me a gray stroke around the outside as opposed to a solid stroke. And that's just another version, same thing, just different version to see an outline as opposed to a shadow, or not a shadow, but a solid backing as opposed to sort of an outline letters. And here's the last one of the examples that you can open up from what's available in this week's lessons. Here's for packaging, Sim Soap. And the letters joining and touching and rolling into each other and having some gray bubbles, and then taking all of this and making an outline, 2 outlines, and even the line outline around everything, and then taking it to the color and making the circles now a gradient with a little white glare here on all these little bubbles. There's little and medium and large bubbles that surrounding this, giving a color and a gradient. To the gradient goes to the black part here, and then the rest of it is solid color. To take this word for soap, Sim Soap, and make it ready for packaging. So the arrangement I want you to do for the project for this week is for project 12, where you're going to manipulate the type, either the square or the round end, and produce your name. Just take your name and make it more interesting. First name, last name, or just your last name. Just using this on a word to make the formation of a particular word or group of words a lot more interesting.